Europe wasn't built to be loved. It was built to prevent war. And Britain wasn't built to be absorbed. It was built to be unconquered. So when the continent forged a union, Britain didn't ask, "How do we belong?" Britain asked, "How do we stay Britain?" What follows isn't just a political conflict. It's an ego collision, a clash between two mythologies: unity versus sovereignty, rules versus exception, the continent versus the island. This is EU versus UK, two titans, one table, and a question that never stopped bleeding. Who controls the future? The European project is a machine designed to do one thing: turn sovereignty into shared power. The British state is a machine designed to do one thing: turn independence into identity. So every time Europe said integration, Britain heard submission. And every time Britain said exception, Europe heard disloyalty. This wasn't a single argument. It was decades of unresolved psychology. A marriage where one partner wanted a family name and the other refused to change their passport. After World War II, Europe stared into the crater of its own history and said, "Never again." So France, Germany, Italy, and others began stitching their economies together. Coal, steel, trade, then law, then courts, then currency dreams. Britain watched from the side like a man at a reunion pretending he didn't miss anyone. Because Britain's post-war identity wasn't "we survived together," it was "we survived alone." The island myth is powerful: the navy, the blitz, the defiance, the stubbornness that becomes scripture. So when Europe began to unify, Britain's ego didn't feel invited, it felt challenged. Britain eventually applied to join, but not as a student, as an equal, as a special case. And Europe heard that as arrogance. This is the first wound. Britain entered with a calculator, not a vow. Europe wanted destiny. Britain wanted terms and conditions. Enter Margaret Thatcher, steel in human form. Thatcher didn't argue with Europe like a diplomat. She argued like an accountant with a sword. She looked at the budget and saw Britain paying into a system that benefited others. She didn't ask for understanding. She demanded a correction. "I want my money back." That phrase became more than policy. It became a national posture. Because here's what Thatcher did psychologically. She taught Britain to see Europe as a negotiation, not a community. Europe responded by moving forward anyway, building deeper integration, more shared rules, more supranational authority. And every step Europe took toward ever closer union felt to Britain like a hand reaching for the steering wheel. Britain didn't mind trade. Britain minded being governed. So Britain did what proud empires do when they sense dependence. They insist on distance. While staying close enough to profit. Britain became the master of the half-commitment. In Europe, the word is integration. In Britain, the word is opt-out. Not the euro, not this chapter, not that rule, not that court, at least not fully. Britain's strategy was genius and fragile. Take the market, reject the symbolism, keep the sovereignty story intact. But the cost of being a partial member is eternal suspicion. Europe begins to wonder, are you building with us or using us? And Britain begins to wonder, why are they always trying to pull us deeper? This is where ego becomes paranoia, because both sides are telling themselves a story. Europe's story, if we don't bind together, we fracture. Britain's story, if we bind too tightly, we disappear. So instead of trust, you get a cycle. Integration triggers resistance. Resistance triggers tighter rules. Here comes the turning point, the moment policy becomes personal. Freedom of movement in Europe is a principle. In Britain, it became a symbol of lost control. Not because movement is inherently evil, but because perception is power. When people feel their lives are shrinking, they look for a lever, a button, a culprit. And Europe, as a distant bureaucracy, became the perfect target. Complicated, foreign, hard to blame check, easy to mythologize. Britain wasn't only debating laws, Britain was debating who it was allowed to be. The EU, meanwhile, saw Britain's political debate and thought, they're using us as a scapegoat. And Britain saw EU officials and thought, they don't understand us. They never will. The relationship deteriorated into something worse than conflict, contempt.
Then came the referendum, a political decision that looked democratic, but behaved like a psychological grenade. Because referendums do one dangerous thing, they turn complex reality into a single question. And that question becomes a mirror. Do you trust the system, or do you want to punish it? The Leave campaign sold a feeling. Take it back. Control, pride, escape. The Remain side sold a warning. Risk, damage, uncertainty. And here's the brutal truth of human nature. Warning rarely beats identity. So Britain voted, and the island myth won. But victory in a referendum is not victory in reality. It's just the start of consequences. Because now Britain had to do something the national ego hates: negotiate from a weaker position after declaring independence. Brexit turned into a bureaucratic battlefield. Trade rules, fishing rights, courts, customs, supply chains, and one issue that refused to behave: Northern Ireland. Because borders aren't lines on maps, they're lines in people. Europe insisted, protect the integrity of the single market. Britain insisted, protect the integrity of the United Kingdom. Two integrities, one geography. Negotiations became theater. Europe performed firmness, no cherry-picking. Britain performed defiance. We will not be punished. And beneath it all, a quieter truth. Both sides feared precedent. Europe feared that leaving could look easy. Britain feared that leaving could look humiliating. So the divorce wasn't clean. It was symbolic. Because in ego wars, outcomes matter less than status. So, who won? If you measure by sovereignty rhetoric, Britain won. It left. It proved it could. If you measure by unity and institutional power, Europe won. It held. It showed the cost of exit. But the deeper answer is darker. Nobody won. Ego just got what it asked for. Britain asked for control and gained control with more friction, more complexity, and a permanent argument about what success even means. Europe asked for unity and gained unity, but was reminded that unity can feel like a cage to those who didn't design it. This war was never only about money. It was about identity under pressure. Europe's ego says, we are stronger together. Britain's ego says, we are ourselves alone. Two philosophies, both believable, both costly. And here's the mirror for us. How many of our personal conflicts are the same? When we say freedom, do we mean growth or escape? When we say unity, do we mean love or control? When we say independence, do we mean strength or fear? Because sometimes the real battle isn't EU versus UK. It's inside the human mind, belonging versus control. And the ego always wants to choose one, even when life demands both.
This was Season 1, Episode 5 of Battle of Egos. If you missed Episode 4, check out Michelangelo versus Da Vinci, the Renaissance Titans Clash. Share in the comments your personal thoughts about these modern ideological egos. Because history isn't a timeline, it's a battlefield of identities. So, subscribe for the next arm wrestling